Takulandirani ku AMTV Malawi kuchimake kwa nkhani zenizeni. Ngati nkhani imeneyo kuno kulibe, dziwani kuti nkhani imeneyo ndi yabodza.
Higher education likes miyambo. So, amati chuluke ndwa wanjuchi. Now, if you look at what our fathers, by saying chuluke wanjuchi in the modes, it's not that the other njuchi are bad or they're useless. They help to construct the needs. But they say there's only one. In our language, that translates to prioritization. So our old fathers knew that you prioritize, in some people says, but only one. So what we are trying to negotiate and to discuss, to have the conversation today with your university, is we must invest in Luanar if this country is to grow. Talking about this is what I already mentioned. Food security is an issue in Malawi. And we don't want, us as agriculturists, we want njara to be the thing of the past. We can't be there as a university and people are suffering. No. Export potential. The issue of forex. We're saying this is where we align ourselves as Luanar to ensure, because after all, apart from minerals, what else do we export? Most of the products will be agricultural based. Whether it is a value chain, whether you have a value added, whether you have processed, the best is agriculture. So that's why we're saying, number one, why we should invest is because Luanar is fulfilling government priorities, number one. Number two, in this discussion, it means in our budgeting thinking, we should be thinking about the same. We have got pressing needs in the country. Every voting person wants money. But where do we prioritize? Number two, this continues fulfilling, and this is just the example. What you see there, you can't see properly. These are chilies. We've already begun negotiating after our president visited China. We've already negotiated with Chinese. This market of chili is $1 billion ready. The forward markets, the forward contracts, they're there. And this has potential to generate that 1 billion and potential to transform 1 million farm families. Just chilies and maybe castor. The other one is castor. Now, what is we need there is now to translate that castor which is in China through research technology to have that castor grown here, sent to China, will mobilize the forex. The potential is here. And our scientists have already started lining up trials so that it passes through the agricultural technology clearing house. So we are talking about real things here. So we are fulfilling that, and that's why I would want that in the budget. And also, let's re-look at this Luanar, this animal. What can it do to our country? You set it up, August House. What can your university do to you, to our country? And these are just achievements, some of the achievements. But what I meant here to show is that in addition to what you had set this Luanar up, but Luanar is a university that is determined to succeed. Failure is not in our language. So some of these things, when we started in 2012, we held our first graduate in 2016. That time we were only able to graduate maybe about 2,000, 1,000 students. As we're talking, the enrollment, not graduate, but the enrollment now has grown. We're talking about 14,000, 15,000 in a space of 10 years. We are determined to succeed. By 2016, we became the whole region the center of excellence in aquaculture and fisheries. So all the students what we're getting, they're coming here. We've got several countries at Luanar, 20 countries coming there to study in aquaculture and other things. By 2017, we had built up our service station. By 2019, we had graduated some postgraduate. By 2020, we had launched the Luanar Endowment Fund. By 2020, opening of Norway Teaching Complex. This was funded by the Norwegians. By 2022, we opened the administration block. By 2023, we started operating the teaching mega farm. 2024, last year, we launched Luanar Holding Company. And also we launched Luanar e-campus, total lessons on electronic. Those two we actually launched by His Excellency, our President. So we are determined to succeed. That's another point where we are. And we are now renowned globally. So last year, out of 129 universities, we became number 15. And of course, in Malawi, we are, as of now, the number 1 university by that ranking. We are determined to succeed. Failure is not in our language, and we want to see this country transformed. And our call tonight, to this afternoon, is August House. Let's be together. Support Luanar, invest in Luanar. This is the njuchi which can bite us. Now, we are trusted not only by even development partners. These 2 buildings, as you are seeing, this is a $10 million project. That's a hostel to my right. To my left is a teaching block supported by development partners, the Norwegians. So we're not trusted, but even other countries, they see the value of investing in Luanar. Not only that, but as Luanar, we have the ability to deliver PSIP programs. We are pleased tonight to tell today we've got Treasury, we've got PSIP. These are the people that support us. That structure you're seeing to the left is a 10-12 billion project. Malawi government money. We have managed, we have delivered. We are the core of Mega Farm initiative. The 20 billion, which has been going to Mike, which is to the farmers. Luanar was part and parcel of that initiative and making the scheme of that. So we are there already supporting. And these are PSIP programs, which we are supporting. These are also PSIP programs. And the other one is actually Aquafish, is by World Bank, but NRC teaching block. Or Health Center, Area 47. It's just a bit of snag, but anytime short, we'll be inviting some of you to come and witness the opening of that. And that is government money, whether it is World Bank and so forth, but we are there to deliver. The other thing is that we are in quest for sustainability. Yes, government is giving us funds, but we're saying on our own, what can we do? So little by little, we invested part of the money we had saved into a Punda service station, fully fledged filling station, which is supporting Mozambique, Mitundu, and all those areas. That's why I said we also started the endowment fund. We also have that holding company. In about 4 years ago, we were featuring this picture. And we said, within the unforeseeable, within the shortest period of time, that to the left, that is an organic pesticide. We just put that, and there's Luanar there. The second one, we're saying our own, we must produce fertilizers here. The number one, we said one day we'll have our usipa in our cans. Let me say, we are on the trajectory of growth. For number one, the left one, I'm very happy I'm pleased to inform you that by now, Minister of Agriculture has certified one of the organic pesticides. So the whole of this bill, and we're hoping to have a startup, the whole of the bill of the pesticides, there's too many diseases now. If you're growing tomatoes, you have to spray. And all this is huge bills. We want to replace that by our own. So investing in Luanar means investing in dividend for this country. This is a university that can spin the whole country. You're talking about food security, you're talking about export market, you're talking about employment, etc. We're also thinking that we're going to move, going to other campuses. We want in Mangochi to have a fisheries crop in Pwepo area. We want a Neno area to have fruit. Luanar should be there. We want Lower Shire to have. And these are impact to the country, but impact to our communities. These we are calling innovation technology hubs, industrial hubs of Luanar. But to do this, August House, and this is where we are saying, to do this, what is our ask? If you can let us and give this opportunity, we have displayed our achievements. You've invested us a little money, it has generated impact. August House, year in, year out, we do budget for money for research, and that money usually is not there. And this is our plea this evening, that yes, you can cut everything. And we know we've already seen the ceiling. It doesn't contain this money for research. Koma, amati nguyo bwere kasitani, Sirimba, US administration. We were relying on them as research. As we're talking today, they have removed from us 7 billion research money. It's gone. So the little we have been achieving through these people, through whatever, Sirimba. I would want this afternoon, as our Director of Finance is going to present the details of this budget, that we reflect. Let's pump money into this university. This is the university. Oh, of course, our chair of council says that God values the most, because they're saying, you know, this is the value chain. So we're dealing with the value chain, agriculture. So let's invest. We're asking, actually we should be asking, we were asking to Treasury about 7 billion. We're saying, okay, even if 5 billion this year, additional, we're playing with lives here. So, thank you very much, Chair. And I will ask now our Director of Finance to get into details of our budget. Thank you for your attention. Yeah, Chair and Chair and honorable members, I will take you through the overview of the current financial year, the achievements we have made, the challenges we have made. Then we'll look at the estimates for next financial year based on the ceilings we were provided and what we'll be able to achieve in that year and what the shortfalls we think should be funded. The VC mentioned about the 5 billion on research. We'll touch on other areas. In terms of the budget for the current year, the overall, the approved one was 56 billion, with the government subvention pegged at 31 billion. In that one, ORT was 23.9 billion, and the development 7.4 billion. Own generated income, representing 44.4%, was at 25.1 billion. In terms of the way the money was used, in summary, as at mid-year, I just want to this is another document. As at mid-year, what income was realized as at 31st December was 43.3 billion. The budget was 42 billion, and the cumulative expenditure, including capital, was 38 billion. The budget was 40 billion, and this turned into excess income of over expenditure of 2 billion. Of course, after adjusting for research, farm funds, and mega farm, that's what we are remaining with. I'll proceed to the PowerPoint. The next slide is talking about what we have achieved this financial year. The VC talked about launching eCampus in partnership with Astra Learning Institute. We graduated 2,181 students, out of which 81 were postgraduate students. We also established a Center of Continuing Education and Professional Development. We provided capacity for 34 land registrars and 334 land clerks in partnership with the Ministry of Lands. We continue negotiating with the contractor for NRC, Fargo, and we continue construction of Auditor Center in Area 47, which is now at 92%. We have rated 5 hostels and painted all hostels in Luanar. Some funds were provided at mid-year by Ministry of Finance. The gateway admin block was completed, although we have some outstanding certificates.
which are yet to be paid. Contractor is contemplating taking us to court. We registered Luanar holding company to manage commercial enterprises. We are currently carrying out a functional review, which is now at 65%. We are also into a process of ISO 9001 certification. Now it is at 65%. As the VC indicated, we are investor number 1 in Malawi and 15 in Sub-Saharan Africa. We signed the partnerships with the other institutions, Midland State University and 26 media houses in Malawi. We are continuing with achievements. We concluded research on production of biofertilizer and biopesticides through FUDMA. We hosted a cannabis research workshop. We conducted research through IFDC on efficiency, on use of inorganic fertilizers. We signed the MOU with Sino Boca to research on non-GM chili and castor production. The VC alluded to that. We conducted research which unveiled alarming trends in children's dietary habits. We hosted a national inaugural food loss at waste management commemoration which took place in Sante. We had a science week to inspire young innovators, and the S project conducted fish farmer tilapia breeding training in Kasungu and in Chinji. You will note that my presentation is based on the program that we have, research, administration, and the teaching and learning. In terms of challenges, we encountered some challenges. We had the experience in adequate teaching and learning materials for both the and new old programs. That is because of cash flow problems and the cost of goods and services. We also experienced inadequate learning space because of increased enrollment in response to government policy on widening access to higher education. We still are dealing with the effects of the COVID-19. Members may be wondering why. It's because at that time we had closed, or we could not open in time, and at the moment we have 2 cohorts of 30 years. This has an impact on resources and I think the workload on staff members. We also experienced student attrition due to lack of tuition fees. Staff were overwhelmed because of increased programs and enrollment. We have a lot of vacancies which we intend to fill. We presented a request to Treasury for funding to recruit at least some staff members. And again, one of the challenges is what the VC alluded to, reliance on external partners to fund research, which may not be relevant to local challenges. And again, related to that, the USAID has withdrawn their funding. This has affected the 47 postgraduate students at Luanar, who are studying at Luanar or abroad, but with funding from projects that were sponsored by USAID. And we have 3 staff members who are also funded by projects funded by USAID. Those ones, their sponsorship is not certain. We have water supply problems both in Bunda and NRC because of issues to capacity of Central General Board. Again, challenges of inadequate ORT, it has resulted in us accumulating pay arrears, tribute arrears, and other suppliers to the tune of 4.1 billion. Again, we had the experienced reductions in the development funding. Initially, also not adequate funding, as a result of which we still have some outstanding certificates not yet paid to the tune of about 2 billion. we are hoping that we were hoping that funding for next financial year should be able to cater for that. It may transpire that all the funding is used to pay for the certificates for this year in some projects. Now we come to the allocations for next year. We have been advised that subvention for next financial year is pegged at 42.3 billion, with the only estimated income of 27.2 billion, and the development budget 10 billion. ORT subvention in this case is 31 billion. The allocations for the development budget are falling short of what we would want to be allocated. The allocations are as follows. Admin and teaching complex has been allocated 1.8 billion. At the end of the presentation, we'll show what we would want to be provided with and the shortfalls. Skills development, the 2.5 billion. Capacity expansion and productive knowledge, 3 billion. Development of mega teaching farm, 3 billion. And there's counterpart funding for participatory action research, which is at 71 million. With these funds, we're expected to do some of the following: to expand teaching and learning space by targeting completion of audio center and restarting construction of the new complex at NRC and the library at Bunda. That is our wish with the funding that we are lobbying to get and what we have been provided with. We have plans to commence construction of hostels at Bunda and NRC. We want to rehabilitate the remaining hostels. We want to procure teaching and learning materials and equipment, and we want to complete the ISO certification and functional review processes. Again, improvement of Luanar farms through the mega farm initiative. Of course, we are expected to raise and spend 69.6 billion. We plan to increase own generated income by 15%, and we recognize the negative effects in the economy, inflation, interest, but we will continue to implement our austerity measures. Now, with regard to the development budget, with the funding that have been provided, we may have problems to smoothly continue constructing the NRC complex, complete and finish the audio center, and start construction of learning resources center, library at Bunda, and the NRC, and also construction of new hostels in those two campuses. In conclusion, I think we'll talk about the problems every institution or Luanar is facing due to the economic situation. We are failing to pay for critical items, including payment and teaching materials, medical insurance services, and associated services. Again, as we said, as a conclusion, space is a problem. We needed to have funds for construction. They needed the resources for us to, apart from what has been provided. This is talking about what the additional. We talked about areas and some places 4.1 billion. Then I'll come to the shortfall on the development budget, which is 17.5 billion. On the construction of gateway and complex, we requested 2.1 billion. We've been given 1.8 billion. The shortfall is 321. Basically, this is a shortfall on one certificate for this year. Certificate was issued. What was paid was leaving 321 million. So it means we still have a problem with that certificate. Skills development project, we had wanted 6.5. The provision is 2.5, leaving a shortfall of 4 billion. Capacity expansion program. This is a big program where there are issues like the library, the student hostels, they are here. The teaching complex at NRC, they are part of this program. So that's why I was saying 3 billion. We can maybe continue with the teaching complex at the NRC. We may not start the other programs, which were already approved. They are in the PSIP program. The contractors were identified. What is remaining is to start the projects. So the 3 billion may not be adequate for that arrangement. The mega farm project had asked for 5.5 billion. 3 billion is leaving a shortfall of 2.5 billion. This is the mega farm with shortfall, the 17.5 billion. This chair is our presentation. Why is it not coming? That was the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Vice Chancellor, and thank you for the presentation. At this point, I'll ask honorable members to ask some questions if they have any questions. Before that, on a lighter note, when you were beaming the map of Malawi and the projects that are there, I expected to see a butterfish research center somewhere in Katabe, but I didn't see it. So, let me ask honorable members to ask questions if you have any questions before I ask my questions. Honorable members, Cholo South Tegerani.
Thank you so much, Chair, for allowing the people of Cholo Tegerani to make observations here. But before I come to that one, Chair, let me appreciate the two presentations that are made. First presentation by Vice Chancellor, and the other one by Director of Finance. So earlier, the Vice Chancellor said and lamented, saying if you can support us with at least 5.1 billion would be much better. And then the Director of Finance is coming up with a deficit of 17.5 billion. So I just want to understand on that one. Is 17.5 billion for which period? Maybe in comparison with what the Vice Chancellor has said of 5.1 billion. Yeah, that's my observation. But let me appreciate the good work Luanar is doing. You could agree with me, Chair, that the first presentation has shown us the good work that is taking place, the investments that are taking place at the university. So please continue doing that. And we want, in a very short term, to see you out of dependence on government funding. So that is very, very impressive. But Vice Chancellor, we are in a very critical moment where Malawians are crying out there of hunger. Yet we have a very good university which can maybe more than 50% support to eradicate this hunger. So we are seeing there support from Mega Farm, which is less than 5 billion. If I'm not wrong, I saw around 3 billion. Yeah. How best can we do to make sure that the Luanar is fully supported, because it has got enough land, expertise, whatever? How best can we do to make sure that this part of mega farms is fully supported, Chair? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Nsanje North.
Thank you so much, Chair. Mine is just as simple. As Luanar, I think it's an university which even Malawi can depend upon more than any university in Malawi. Don't you have any suggestions, any thinking of, because in Malawi our staple food is maize. Don't you have any suggestion of inventing a certain breed of maize which can take maybe two months to be harvested, or a certain breed of maize which cannot use fertilizer? I just want you yourself to think and look forward if you can manage to do that, because the world nowadays is changing each and every day. Thank you.
Zomba Changarume.
Thank you, Chair. I also concur with my honorable member here from Choro about your presentation. But my question is, Chair, I think Luanar, I've been opportune to be in this committee, I think, for about 2-3 years, and we have been meeting with Luanar, and I know of all the projects that they've been doing, and I think they have also highlighted there, starting from 2020 up to date. So, Chair, I want to appreciate from all the investments that you have been doing all these years, when are you anticipating to stand on your own so that you should stop depending on government subvention? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Nkata Be West.
Thank you, Chair. Considering that mega farm started a year or two ago, Luanar has been engaged in mega farming. Apart from that, it means that they are also rearing goats or cattle. May I know how much maize, if any, have you harvested so far? Or how much maize do you expect to harvest using mega farm? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Any more honorable members? We'll do just one round of questions. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I saw there on the presentation, they said, I think the COVID affected their cohorts, and it's still happening. I don't know, when are you planning to go back to your normal classes? Because COVID, I think it's now 2 years. So I think we're going to be complaining about the COVID issue. When are you planning to go back to your normal classes? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, any more? The Chair is looking for the wisdom from Chilazulu Central. So any.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mine is just the way how we present things. We have input and there's output. For example, on the mega farm, we need quantified things. Where are we are going? For example, we need to get out of this hunger situation we're talking about. So we needed to know in Malawi, according to the wisdom of Luanar,
what are the quantities of maize that must be produced so that I think we can see the reduction in hunger. Academicians have been talking about Luanar. People in the village there, they are suffering. They don't even know that Luanar exists. But if it was to say, we believe Malawi need production of maybe 200,000 metric tons of maize every 6 months, and Luanar intends to do this in this year, this in this year, so that by such a year, we'll see a reduction in hunger. That is actually something that we can actually take. But normally coming here, talking about pesticides, fertilizer, year upon year, it's not assisting us. We want actually figures. When do you intend to do what? And when can we see things changing? I just wanted to say, Chair, that we need to be quantifying our explanations. And secondly, you have actually said that reliance on funding from external parties that are funding research that are of no relevance to Malawi. This is the time that you tell the governments that are here, we need this research. If this research is done, we can do A, B, C, D. But it seems like you are just sitting, waiting for somebody for America to say, can you please research for us this? We need actually to be told, to say, we believe this research, if conducted in the next 6 months or in the next 2 years, in the third year, this is what will happen, this is what will happen. I think it will actually. Chair, you may have heard one of the presentation here regarding the fertilizers. We saw some pictures. It was very, very amazing. And we said, where were these things? And there was no animation to say, when do we expect this kind of fertilizer to be on the market? So those are the things that will actually excite us. And even the people that we represent, you can go back and tell them, please wait next year, Luanar is bringing such a thing. But what will go there to tell is just Luanar, they say they are capable of actually having fertilizer. But you don't have know when that fertilizer will be on the market. So I just wanted, that's very, very important. Thank you, Chair.
Nkatabe West, you want to add something?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, Chair, may I appreciate if any advice is given by Luanar to the government in the way we have been using starter pack, today we have got this cheap fertilizer, does this benefit the country? Because year in, year out, the same government uses a lot of money to buy food for the people, distributing food to the people. What advice, or have you ever taken courage to advise the governments, not only one government, but the governments on this, whether we are making any strides towards ending hunger or not? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Vice Chancellor, I hope you have taken note of all the questions, and some were comments. And just to add a few questions of clarity, basically, the Director of Finance, did you at some point show that you had an income of 2 billion, like excess income from last year, or did I see it correctly? The second one is on yesterday, just to buttress the point, I think you mentioned by, is it Chilazuru Central or Nkatabe West, about the organic fertilizer. We were sure, yesterday we had the National Science Commission. They showed us the organic fertilizer that has been developed at Luanar and tested there, in something like that. I think it's something that we need to get some clarity. And I think on the 5 billion ask, which I think the honorable member from Choro South Tekerani mentioned, can we get some clarity on what you want to use that money for? Because I'm kind of a bit more sensitive in pushing Madam Fachi for some more money, because she has rightly pointed out the deficits that are there and the budget itself, the challenges that are there. So would you kindly inform the committee, or rather put some clarity on this 5 billion ask which you mentioned. And I think after that, if there will be no supplementary questions, we'll ask you to give concluding remarks. But before you do that, I'll ask Minister of Education and Finance if they have anything to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, August House, for these brilliant, good questions. And let me say this, Chair, that our plea here is to really understand what our vision is. In realizing anything, we must invest. And from where we are sitting, this is where we need quite good investment. To clarify, number one issue about 17 billion versus 5 billion. If you noted that 17 billion is for infrastructure, development projects. What we were saying was, when we present our budgets and we discuss with our treasury, normally the money that comes in is only for emoluments and then development. We had a budget which we presented. The first budget was 7 billion for research. But Treasury, because of this being squeezed, could only accommodate us what we have been given. Our question is that we must begin to invest in research. And I think National Commission was here. They may have shown you that in any country in the world that has developed, it's only if you invest in research, technology, that's when you can develop and run. Otherwise, any small little money that we do goes out. Now, for us as Luanar, we tried very, very good when government could not give us money for research to get to these development partners like USAID. We are saying today that USAID money is not there. That's why I was saying that relying on donors, development partners, will not help. So what our request is, through this August House, can we so search and say, Luanar has shown us the potential. Can we try them? Can we give them something for research? So the 5 billion we're asking, number one, is to cushion the money that USAID has taken away. They have taken away 7 billion, actually it's about 10 billion, but it's $7 million US, 15 projects, they're all gone. We had even good projects there, even apart from that, even the ones that we had didactics program, which was training all people that help hospitals to eat properly in these hospitals. That project is gone. So we are in a very serious challenge here. Now, if we're going to see, they talked about this research, what has been happening is because we rely money here and there, small money here and there, for research, little money. That's why even progress on delivering on our products, like fertilizer, etc., they have taken too long. If you ask National Commission of Science and Technology, the investment which is there, very small. They sometimes get a little bit of funding somewhere, which sometimes they give to us, very, very small to make any meaningful research and technology transformation. So this is a serious thing that we need to really pump in some money for research. Yes, we have these challenges. We've got teaching and learning, buildings, etc., 17 billion, but we also need an additional 5 billion for research. In terms of mega farm and maize, surely, this is one of our areas which we are saying. If you ask the question, what is the whole, we need about 2.1, I think, million metric tons in the country. And indeed, as Luanar, we're saying we can play a big role here. We already started, but you see we're starting from ground zero. Mechanization, procurement of land, or getting land, leasing land, etc. So we have to have a trajectory, but surely the investment cannot just be this 3 billion which we are seeing here. So we're going to prepare that for our colleagues in Treasury to say this is what we're going to do, but that will also need huge investment. So that is one of the things that I thought I could talk on. Our DVC will talk about the issue of cohorts when we are stopping, and also if there's any element that I've forgotten here, please. The maize. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair, and all members present here. Let me start by explaining the issue of cohorts. As you are aware, during the COVID time, we closed for more than 1 year. And because of that, it means we had a group of students that could not come to school for 1 whole year. And when they came, we had another cohort that was supposed to report that particular year. Because of that, it meant we had 2 first years, 2 third years, until they finish. So that cohort now is in starting 4th year, meaning that by the end of 2025, we now have had that cohort taken through. So it means every year we are having a class where you have 2 different cohorts going out together. So that's why there's still that carryover from the COVID time. The issue of short time or no fertilizer, as of now, it is going to be a trade-off. For those that are aware, for example, right now there is the variety Kalulu, which is it 60 to 90 days? So very early maturing, it's there, but it cannot perform the same way like in Njovu or the long maturing. So the longer a crop or a plant stays in the field, the higher the yields, the heavier the grain, because it means it has had enough time to draw nutrients from the soil and produce whatever grain material. So, for example, if you look at the way mushroom grows in 1 or 2 days, but it's not as nutritious as a crop like beans or what that grows for a longer time. So, as much as we can breed for early maturity, the trade-off will be in yield, the trade-off will be in nutrient content. The issue of efficiency in fertilizer, just like any living organism, we can reduce the efficiency, maybe the demand, but our soils have been degraded. And not only have we degraded our soils in terms of minerals and inorganic, but we have even degraded the soils because of carbon material, the manure, to such an extent that even if you apply the urea and the can, you are not getting the same returns because the soil structure itself is not healthy enough to hold and utilize the nutrients. So we need to improve our soils, both the structure and the nutrient content of our soils, and even the natural. Ideally, soils are supposed to be left to rest, a fallow. If we do a rotation, you have to include a fallow, but now we are producing every year. So that's also a pressure that is being placed on the soils, and we need to supplement nutrients to the soil throughout. The other issue that was also asked was the issue of the research that the university is doing. As a university, we are talking of food security in terms of maize, as much as we would also want to promote dietary diversification so that we don't just rely on maize. Maize should just be one of the food items that as a nation we should rely on. And we should be able to bring in roots and tubers and other sorghums, millets, so that the over-dependency of maize itself is overrated for us as an economy. So we need to diversify our diets, we need to diversify the food, and people need to be encouraged to do the same. The issue of when can Luanar stand on its own? As a university, our core business is teaching. We train students. then we also do research. And if we are going to stand on our own, it means the core business that we are involved in has to bring in the resources. Just how business goes. If what you are doing is not bringing in the money, then the money has to come from somewhere. So as the House is aware, as a public university, there's no way we can charge economic fees from our students. So unless our students are able to pay the cost of training a student, the universities will continue to rely on government to subsidize. As of last year, the cost of training one student per year was over 5 million kwacha. And yet the fees we are charging is 600, 650. Somebody has to cover the gap between that to deliver the same quality of teaching and learning. There was a comment on the issue of pesticides and fertilizer. Unfortunately, with climate change, agriculture production is no longer going to be the same. We either have to go high-tech in terms of greenhouse production, or we use pesticides. Because with climate change, now we are having outbreaks for armyworm. So many diseases that are prevalent in the agricultural production, things that were not there behind. So even now, for you to have a very good and healthy crop of maize, you have to spray. Otherwise, the fall armyworm will devastate the whole crop. So as of now, most of the pesticides that we are using are imported chemical, but we are exploring on what materials or resources do we have within our environment that we can use to control and manage pests in agricultural production, both in horticulture and field crops such as maize. So like one of the pesticides that one of our scientists has been cleared by the Minister of Agriculture is aiming at management of fall armyworm. And one of the issues is that as a nation, the researchers can develop, but we need a value chain. Because once they've developed that technology, somebody has to bring in the money to commercialize that. So as a university, we have just started with our technology transfer office, but we still need investment from the private sector to produce and commercialize, to take the product on the market. As a university, we can do a spin-off, or we can charge royalty on the intellectual property. So we need to develop this also environment that looks at the university for knowledge and for growth in terms of exploiting the research findings that the university is producing. Thank you.
Just wanted to add, Chair, indeed, the importance of studies like pesticides cannot be overemphasized. The only thing is that people don't realize, Chimanga, if you're going to harvest 100 bags, Tawizambiri, Chwacha Kapuchi, all those things, you only harvest 70 bags. And I think now the losses are maybe even 50%. So we are tackling that. You also noticed that we launched what we call food waste day and kononga chakudya. So even if you have 2 bags of maize to carry you in the month, but because most of it is wasted, not cooking properly, not keeping the food properly, all those things, they also hamper on our food security. So we're tackling food security, not just production, but also managing what we're producing. So therefore, all this research is very critical. I thought I could just add that, Chair. Yeah.
Have you exhausted all the responses? Should we? There was a question about the 2 billion. Was it an income that you, like a profit or something? Excess income? Yeah. Okay, and there was a question about the harvest projection. I think that was the question from there. On the mega farms, was it? Yes. And before you answer, let's just have the last question from.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, for giving me an opportunity to ask you one brief question. From the presentation, we have heard that Luanar is on number one position in Malawi and 15 in sub-Saharan Africa. Through the chair, let me congratulate the VC and his team for being those positions. I just want to find out, through you, the chair, what is it that Luanar is doing differently from the other universities to be number one in Malawi and also number 15 in Sub-Sahara? And what else can you do to improve your positions, especially in Sub-Saharan Africa? Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Chair. For Luanar to be ranked number 15 in Sub-Saharan Africa and number 1 in Malawi, we had to submit data on the university. On the data that we need is the quality of your lecturers. So as Luanar, we have more than 50% of our faculty members have PhDs. So the more PhDs you have among your faculty members, it implies that you have more qualified members of staff. The number of students that you are bringing in who are first generation university goers, it means you are contributing to transformation and transition from poverty to to economic independence by the students. The quality of programs that you have, as assessed by the National Council of Higher Education, they will also look at internationalization. Are you having staff from outside the country? Are you attracting students from the region? As the VC indicated, because of the centers of excellence in agriculture, we are able to host students from 21 African countries that are studying with us for their masters and for their PhDs. So there are quite a number of items that they will look at to see if you are really competing. How many publications and research findings that you're producing. As a university, are people looking at your products and citing them and making decisions based on the research findings? How much is government consulting us in our specific areas of specialization? So advice we provide to the private sector, to development partners, to government in terms of either through consultancy or through policy briefs that we provide to government on different items. And I think that brings to the other question that was raised as to whether as a university we provide advice to government. We do. We write policy briefs that are shared with the line ministries, whether it's Minister of Agriculture, Natural Resources, or Minister of Health, depending on the area of expertise. Our members of staff, they sit on technical working groups in those ministries. Like, for example, in Minister of Agriculture, the Department of Agriculture Research, Department of Agriculture Extension, we have our members that sit on technical groups within those ministries to provide expertise. We also sit on boards and technical committees of, for example, Malawi Bureau of Standards, MAPA, whichever government arm that has areas where Luanar has expertise, we are represented and we provide input. Okay, I think that's.
The Chair, the 2 billion figure is the not profit, say surplus, but it's a figure within the year at December. So to say it's work in progress, I think the true picture will be seen at the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I think at this point, let me ask Minister of Education, Higher Education. Doc, do you have anything to say?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members.
Just first of all, Chair, to thank you and your honorable committee for the chance that you provided to us, Minister of Education through Luanar, to engage us on the budget. You've heard our stories and our cries, but I want to appreciate very much, Chair, the engagement that has been here, and I will be now speaking as someone from the ministry and now also speaking to Luanar. I want to pick on one issue that has been raised here, and it has been the cry indeed of Malawians, and herein being expressed through you honorable members. I want to appreciate the need that you have raised in terms of scaling up our innovations beyond the labs, beyond the universities, because that is the expectation. And indeed, when we hear this, people talking about it, it's, for me, I take it as a positive compliment of the huge expectation that Malawians have on us. And therefore, as university, I want us to take it positively and indeed to say, yes, research is there. Once we do the research and then we publish and so on, can we go beyond the labs? Can we go beyond the results that we see? I know we can show what is producing, but, Chair, the catch there is on the support that we will need to give to the universities so that they can scale up this. Just relying on the royalties, if we sell out our innovations, I think it's not enough. We need to do it. We need to establish. I am happy that the university has launched the holding company, and I'm sure that it is through this that we need to do this. Recently, well, maybe a year or so, there was this clip that circulated, and actually it's hot selling in Zambia, by the way, by the former honorable member of Parliament, Honorable Loveness Gondwe. I think we all remember, and I can identify ourselves with what she was talking about, what is expected and what is the huge expectation that is on us. And therefore, Chair, I want to take the discussions here positively, and that while we have given our side of things, but we have also taken quite a lot from you, and these are the things that my colleagues and ourselves will be taking up and making sure that we indeed respond to what the nation is positively expecting from us. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair.
Thank you. Treasury, Minister of Finance, PSIP, any comment from that side?
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, I just want to appreciate Luanar for the many initiatives that they are doing and implementing. Indeed, the Malawi as an agro-based and with a fully fledged university of agriculture doesn't make sense for the people to be grappling with the hunger, for us to be talking about the food insecurity. So to know that Luanar is implementing the initiatives that they have presented before the committee, it's so pleasing. And as government, as Treasury, we promise that we'll help in the best way that we can, so that the initiatives are implemented fully, and that Malawi benefits from those initiatives. Suffice to say that our fiscus is not that good, that we can provide all the resources that you require. So our advice as the people from Ministry of Finance is for you to make good use of the resources that we've provided you. Let's see how those resources will take us to, and let's continue the engagements that we always have. They help
us they help in decision making, especially at the Treasury. And secondly, I just also want to thank you, Chair, for having us as people from Ministry of Finance. We are indeed benefiting from the engagements that we are having with the different institutions, and in this case, Luanar. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor, you may give concluding remarks, and then thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and the August House. We also appreciate this time of engagement. We really take this and value this moment that we have. To us, it's a critical moment where the August House has to make critical decisions for this country. And I want to still leave this word, the same Mwambi I said, tione mene yatu ingatirume. In other words, as we prioritize, as Treasury prioritizes, let them say, where can we get the quickest gains for this country to be saved? And that is our aspiration and our plea, that this advice we are providing here, or what we are assessing, is what will move this country. So we really appreciate, because having opportunity like this, where we have feedback as well as a general discussion, is a time where us as a country can spin off good ideas. We so much thank you. We also thank Treasury and also PSIP and our mother minister. These ministries, they hold us, and wherever we are stuck, we engage, in addition to engagement which we have here. So we'll continue that engagement in the spirit of transforming the agriculture sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My concluding remarks, one, thank you so much for coming and for sharing that information. We have taken note of the request that you have put forward before the cluster committee, and we will be discussing that in our reports and everything else. And thank you so much, Minister of Higher Education and the Minister of Finance and PSIP, for being here. Without you, we cannot discuss the budget. So thank you so much for being here this afternoon or evening. I think as a way of concluding the discussion this afternoon is, I think this has been very productive. The information shared is quite enriching. And I think President Trump has taught us something that we have to do as Malawians to be able to stand on our own. And we cannot stand on our own without research and development, so that we can actually develop. So I think it's in some manner, I think Trump is doing a good job for us by taking away all that money that we are crying over, because at the end of the day, we'll be able to do the right thing and benefit the generations to come. I believe as National Assembly, then the executive in the Capitol Hill, I think we should sit down and look at the feasibility of having a different mode of funding universities. The DVC there made a point which I liked. You are able to sustain yourselves if your core business is giving you that sustainability. So probably we should think of how can we support loans board so that we take away these subventions, and probably as government just put in the finances for research only, where the universities can stand on their own. Catholic University is a private university. But so I think this is something that we have to discuss, so that at the end of the day, we shouldn't be pushing everything to Treasury, but we should be able to invest. Because if we invest, then we can actually talk about standing on their own. So I think this has been very enriching, and it's some food for thought for all of us. And my last point, we are allocating about 165 billion, I think, on AIP. About that, I think Madam Fach would have the correct figure. But then Luanar is asking for 5 billion. And we are talking about organic fertilizer, which they have done with National Commission on Science and Technology. I wish there was a chance for this cluster committee to appreciate this, because Luanar is just close by. I wish we could have a chance of appreciating this kind of development, so that actually we can make an argument that take the 5 billion from 165 from AIP. I know it's a political thing. I'm in government. I'm in a party in government. But I think we need to think outside the box. What is it that we can do so that at the end of the day, Malawi benefits? So I think these are some of the things I would want us really to appreciate, this kind of technology that you are developing and some other technologies that you highlighted in your achievements, and then see how can we amplify that voice. And for such a trip, I would want that those officers from Treasury, from PSIP, or from Finance to accompany us, so that we appreciate together and think about this outside this kind of a meeting. With these few remarks, once again, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you always impress this committee when you make your presentations at the end of the year. And we appreciate the projects that you are doing. And we believe that what Luanar is doing is the right, you are in the right direction for research and development for this country. Thank you so much. I wish you a very good evening. I don't know if we still have tea, I think coffee or something. I don't know if we have, but we always enjoy mbatata yabu ino ku Luanar. But if we don't have, forgive us, but don't withdraw that mbatata from us when we come.
Osaiwala kupanga subscribe ku channel ya AMTV Malawi.